Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Jenkins?
Here.
Mr. Blinken?
Here.
Mr. Sewell?
Here. I note for the record the receipt and filing of the secret review prepared by the Planning Department for today's meeting and the minutes of last week's meeting. I understand the Budget Director wishes to make a motion.
Yes, I move to add item 30 on base ID 67833, a resolution seeking authority to enter into an agreement with the Westchester Arts Council, Inc., doing business as Arts Westchester, to provide cultural services to county residents, including the Maintain Cultural Services Program, managing a countywide arts and education program, providing marketing and information services, informing county residents and visitors of the numerous art opportunities available throughout the county, maintaining and upgrading its website and customer relationship management functions, making free and low-cost space available at its Arts Exchange building, and developing and implementing countywide cultural initiatives in an amount not to exceed $1,615,500, commencing January 1st, 2019, and terminating December 31st, 2019.
Second.
Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. The secretary shall add item 30 to the agenda. Unless there's any objection, I move the board consider agendas item 1 to 30, noting that item 29 is being held over by the Board of Legislators.
I have comments on a couple items.
The floor is open for agenda items by any members of the board.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Okay, on item 1, which is 67791, this is to amend the small item contracts from $20,000 to $35,000. We looked into this. At this point in time, we do not need to amend the procurement policy at this time, but I think we should start looking at that to bring the procurement policy in line with this. And this only relates to the dollar amount and not to the process. So that's my comments on that item.
Understood. So, Mr. Chairman, and certainly we are absolutely working through looking at all of the procurement policy, specifically on professional services. I know that it will be coming down to the Board of Legislators for your consideration at the board, because there's a modification that needs to be made at that level. The dollar amount for this is consistent with the state level.
Yes. Right, we looked into that, yes, absolutely.
So we wanted to make sure that we had consistency.
Yes, thank you. My other item relates to item 24.
Yes.
And this relates to the work being done at the historic Miller House. That is ID 67728.
Yes.
Agenda item 24 pertains to a contract for site improvement and building restoration to the historic Miller House in North Castle. The budget block for this resolution includes some temporary funding for this contract, pending the approval of the capital budget amendment and a bond act amendment for the project that will be considered by the Board of Legislators in the next few weeks. I recognize the urgency of approving this contract today, but I am concerned about the precedents being set with this item. I would hope that we don't see any more of these temporary funding solutions in the future, and I would recommend that once the full Board of Legislators approves the capital budget amendment and the bond act amendment for this project, we will see an amended resolution come before A&C to correct the budget block for this contract and reflect the actual funding being used. The Deputy County Executive Jenkins and I talked about this item yesterday. I also talked about it with Commissioner Greason yesterday, both before the Budget and Appropriations and Public Works Committee, and then subsequent a telephone conversation. So we're good with this, but we just wanted to know, because essentially by doing this movement around before funding is there temporarily, then once we approve it, we'll just correct this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and certainly for the record, we certainly appreciate the consideration by the Board of Legislators on this particular project. As you said, the historic Miller House, the Board of Legislators did adopt this particular action, so there is the work that is starting to commence, and certainly we're not going to have an opportunity to get to the additional dollars for this until after the Board of Legislators would absolutely approve. There's probably, should that Board of Legislators approve it, and then it was unanimous before, but you never know.
You never know.
Right? But
I can't
the other
speak to anybody.
consideration that this is for a process perspective, which we are hopeful that it's actually going to go in that direction going forward, and not necessarily with the speed that we have to do this. Miller House has got a whole different
I know.
track of things.
Yeah.
But for, in general, that the hope is that that by this modification, we're going to be able to prevent additional change orders that would happen on this job that normally wouldn't be the case. You know, the bids that came in for this particular job showed extreme difference once we were able to do that. So again, thank you for the consideration, Mr. Chairman, and we appreciate, and we'll make sure that we're able to follow up with Laura and the budget director and making sure that we have an opportunity to correct that budget block, and if the right process is to make sure that we have an additional resolution. You should see that subsequent to the Board of Legislators taking whatever actions it takes on this particular matter. With that, unless there's any objection, I move a vote to approve agenda items 1 through 30, noting that item 29 is being held over by the Board of Legislators.
Seconded?
All in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Are there any other matters to be discussed other than where everyone is going to celebrate St. Valentine's Day? Unless there's an objection, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Seconded?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Enjoy your day, everybody.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
day.